Do you think the 49ers will win the Super Bowl this upcoming season? They've come close. They've kept their team together. They got Brock Purdy on a very cheap rookie deal for one more year. This kind of feels like the last dance of this particular group. What do you think?
To be honest, it comes down to Kyle.
Hmm.
They got all the players back. The hardest thing now for them is that they busted their chops the last few years. They were that close to getting the brass ring last year. What stopped them from getting the brass ring?
Kyle.
So, what is the Kyle factor going to be? Has Kyle learned? Has he grown? Has he matured as a play caller, as a game manager? See, the whole key thing to me is that, you got these players, you got all the talent in the world offensively. And they're doing their best.
But did he grow? Did he learn? He fired Steve Wilkes. It was the defense's fault.
But the thing about it is, hopefully Kyle has learned. You got to evolve. Mm-hmm. And you got to utilize your talents. You got to utilize your players, and you got to decide, I got to allow them to succeed, put the ball in their hands, let them make the plays. Years ago, we had Steve Berline as a rookie playing quarterback for us, and I'm telling Bucci, I said, now look, Steve, you got all these guys around you. You got the Bows, and you got Loftons, and you got these receivers, and you got these. Just put the ball in their hands and let them make the plays for you. They're going to make you look like a pretty damn good quarterback. And Berline threw for over 34,000 yards as a starting quarterback, in the NFL. And we go out. I think we beat the Chargers 42-10 on opening day with him at quarterback. I just let them get the ball in their hands. Let them make the plays for you. As the head coach, as a play caller, put the ball in their hands. Let their greatness, let those 5 guys, rather than one person, win the game for you. Those 5 guys, the sum of the parts is greater than the whole. So all those 5 guys are going to be more of an impact than any one guy can be by himself. And that, in this case, is the same thing with the head coach.
Yeah. You've mentioned something earlier when I asked you the difference between Andy Reid and Kyle Shanahan. And you said with Andy, he can take his ego out of it. He doesn't need to be looked at as the genius or the reason that they win. I feel, not to speak for you, that Kyle has a tough time doing that. That he wants to be seen as one of the main, if not the main reason that they win. It's not good enough to have all these weapons. He's a weapon. And I think maybe that's gotten him into trouble a little bit at the end of these games where his legacy's on the line.
Take your ego out of it. The bottom line is he's throwing when he should be running. And, it's not, at that point, it's about winning the ball game. It's about the team. It's about the big picture. It's about closing the deal, getting the job done. It's not about who's doing what. It's about the process, and it's about the result. That's what counts, the result.
It's not about having the best yards per play average that you can in that game. Like maybe that would be your goal if you're an offensive coordinator.
You're not playing fantasy football. You're not playing video games, okay? So you got to take all that crap, throw it out the door, okay? That's gone. The bottom line is, what's it going to take at that particular time, in that point in time during the game, to be able to win the game? It doesn't matter who makes the plays or who makes the calls, but the job is get it done.
Well, Kyle, if you're watching, I've been doing pro bono quality control work for 8 years. I'm just trying to help. Tom's here as well. He's trying to help. It's on you. You got the best team. You got a really good quarterback. If you're the coach that everyone says that you are, you can win the Super Bowl with this group. But the question is, Tom, do you think they will win the Super Bowl this year?
I tell you, it's tough to get back there again when you came so close last year. And the worst part about it is you came from ahead to lose. And that just, you've got to be able to cleanse your mind as players and as coaches and just get a degauser out there. It's like, and erase your brain from all of those feelings, the sentiments, the emotions of how hard you worked and the fact that how you lost the game. You got to be able to get that out of your craw. But the thing about it is, I got to go back out there this year, and I've got to think that I could play as well or better than did last year, but is that going to be enough to change the outcome? That's the key. And
Right.
who is
Like,
the person to change the outcome? Now
yeah,
that's
who can give more than they gave last year? Kittle? Ayuk? McCaffrey? How can McCaffrey give more than he gave last year?
See, that's the tough part. So what is
Yeah.
the factor that's out there that can sway and swing the pendulum the other way? There's
Ricky
one guy.
Pearsall.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that's so amazing about the Niners. They've been on the doorstep for 4 years, and they haven't found that one player or thing or whatever to push them across the finish line. And this year, it feels like this offseason, they kind of stood pat.
You know, it's like there was a movie, something about always the bridesmaid and never the bride. Why is that girl always a bridesmaid and she never gets to the altar herself? That's Kyle. He's got to get to the altar. What's he doing that's preventing him from getting to the altar and being the chosen one?
It must be tough for him at Thanksgiving dinners where he's sitting there with his dad and his dad's just got those Super Bowl rings kind of tapping on the table. Like, I'm really proud of you, son. You're doing a good job. Like, yeah, thanks, Dad.
Okay, now let's go back. Why did his dad get those rings? How many times did Elway in the Super Bowl and did not win with Elway? What was the factor that allowed them to win Super Bowls?
Running the ball.
Thank you.
Yeah.
His father discovered run the rock. They had this guy named Terrell Davis, who was a sixth.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Had been at Long Beach State. They canceled football. Terrell ends up down in Georgia. And what was he, a sixth-round draft pick? Or free agent? Sixth round. Until they ran the ball, Elway didn't win Super Bowls either. And he's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Great arm.
Funny how that goes.
You throw for show, you run to win. Remember that.
Kyle, write that down. Tom, this was phenomenal. Thank you so much. I hope we can do this again sometime.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity. I love watching your podcast. Of course, you and your father are just the most dynamic duo ever to grace this podcast and world.
Well, thank you very much for watching. Me and my dad will be doing a podcast in a couple hours. So I'm really eager to post this and have my audience get to know you. This was great. Thanks, Tom.
Appreciate it, Grant, and good luck with all your endeavors.
You too.